It's a beautiful day for baseball. And live from Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles, Sportsnet LA presents the Los Angeles Dodgers and the San Diego Padres in Game 2 of this three-game series, the final three-game series of the regular season. Back east this afternoon in the top half of the eighth inning, Bryce Harper with a two-run home run. The Nationals beat the Mets 3-1. What does that mean to the Dodgers? Well, their home field advantage destiny is in their own hands. The Dodgers with a win tonight with Zach Greinke going, and Clayton Kershaw tomorrow will host the New York Mets on Friday at Dodger Stadium. Hi again, everybody. Charlie Snyder, Nomar Garciaparra, Oral Hershiser. Top of all that news today, activated just a couple of hours ago, Yasiel Puig. He missed 34 games with a right hamstring pull. Not only has he been activated, he is starting in right field tonight.
Well, prior to that injury 34 games ago, Yasiel Puig was riding a 10-game hitting streak. He was hitting .342 during that streak. So he was swinging a hot bat and then get injured. Also, in the outfield, what has he done this year? Well, he's played 623 innings in right field and has only made one error. I'll tell you, going down the stretch in the postseason, you want to see what all your options you have as an organization. Yasiel Puig healthy gives the Dodgers another option. We'll see how healthy and what role he plays down the stretch. But he's going to go out there and try to make that postseason roster. But somebody else today is trying to win an ERA title.
Yeah, an ERA title and a Cy Young. And Zach Greinke has been the most consistent pitcher in the big leagues. And you can't do that without fastball command. He has been exceptional in every start with commanding the fastball away to lefties and righties. And it's not only when he's fresh. The first time in and around the order, the hitters hit 205 off of him. The second time around the order, they only hit 171. And the third time around the order, they hit 181. Exceptional consistency, dominance, ERA title if he does it against these Padres, and maybe a second Cy Young if he does it against the Padres.
So Greinke in his 32nd start of the year in search of his 19th win. Home field advantage for the Dodgers now in their own hands. Back with the lineups and first pitch right after this. Zack Greinke getting ready for his 32nd and final start of the year in search of his 19th win. And if he does what he has done through the course of the season, he will be the National League's ERA champion. Meanwhile, back in New York in the bottom half of the 8th inning, Max Scherzer has a no-hitter with 2 out in the bottom of the 8th, and the Nationals have a 2-0 lead. Washington earlier in the day beat the Mets 3-1. So if Washington hangs on, beats the Mets in the second game of the doubleheader, Greinke and the Dodgers can beat the Padres tonight. They will have home field advantage. The Dodgers will against the Mets beginning on Friday. Pat Murphy's lineup tonight for the Padres includes Corey Spangenberg at top. Then it's Melvin Upton and Yangervis Solarte. Jed Jerko at shortstop. Brett Wallace at first base. Alexi Amarista in left. Austin Hedges is catching. Travis Jankowski in right. Robbie Erlin pitching and batting ninth against Zack Greinke.
Last starts of a season for a clinched team is usually a tune-up for the playoffs, but Zack Greinke has a lot more on the line other than that. He could win a Cy Young tonight. He could win an ERA title. It would be his second Cy Young. He won one in 2009 with Kansas City. It's a big night for Zack.
And over the course of his career, he has been terrific against the Padres. And away we go. Spangenberg leading it off at 271 with 4 home runs, 21 runs batted in. He fouls it back, and it's 0-1. Finn, of course, is under the weather. He's off this weekend, and so we will carry on. Spangenberg, 4 home runs and 21 runs batted in. Picture perfect. Chamber of Commerce, 75 degrees on this early Saturday night. And it's quickly no balls and 2 strikes. Greinke in his last 16 outings is 13-1. At home this year, 7-0 and a 1.04 ERA. Well, his numbers have been off the charts all year. And it would appear to be down the stretch they come between Arrieta of the Cubs and Greinke with the Dodgers for the Cy Young Award. To second base. And Howie Kendrick picks it up. We're underway. So it's Kendrick and Rollins up the middle in the infield with Turner and Gonzalez at the corners. Justin Ruggiano and left. Kike Hernandez now the starting center fielder, and Yasiel Puig is back. Yasmani Grandal behind the plate. Melvin Upton Jr. stepping in. Upton at 259 with 5 home runs and 17 runs batted in. After languishing for a couple of years, it's the beginning of a turnaround for Melvin Upton Jr., formerly known as BJ.
Well, you're talking about Zack Greinke. Obviously, we know he's pitching also for Cy Young today, but he's also prepping for the postseason. Would you rather have it as a pitcher knowing that, okay, I'm also pitching for both of those things going down in your final game?
Yeah, I think having that adrenaline and having some value to this game for him personally and for the Dodgers, especially this home field advantage, it brings a different level of concentration and effort to it.
This is more than just a tune-up. 1 ball and 2 strikes. So Greinke is pitching for a lot tonight. His own personal numbers and the way things are going back in New York, Dodgers may in fact have home field advantage by the end of the night. And if that was the case, first game of the playoffs Friday night here at Dodger Stadium.
Charlie, Don Mattingly will have an interesting press conference if the Dodgers win and the Mets lose, because he has promised that there will be a guest manager tomorrow if the game has no value. So he has a choice ahead of him.
Oh, the pressure is on.
Nomar got a chance to do that.
Yeah, interesting press conference. He'll have no press conference because somebody else
tonight, he might have to name it. The writers might want to write who the guest manager is.
Who they'll be and who's going to step in.
I hope we're talking about that in the ninth.
Yeah, I tell you, you never know. It could be Chase Utley, Adrian Gonzalez, Andre Ethier. He's got a lot to choose from for sure.
Clayton Kershaw might want to do it after he gets taken out of the game.
So much debate over a game that won't matter. Yep. Hopefully. Here's the 2-2. Swung on and missed strike 3.
I tell you, I think that's a really cool tradition to do that. I remember, like you said, I had the opportunity to do that. Joe Torre, when he was here with the Dodgers, I got to manage, and it was great. I got to pick my staff. The only problem was when we played the Giants, and we had Lincecum going for the Cy Young that year, so he was pitching on the hill, so obviously meant an awful lot. And then he gave me the list of all the people who weren't allowed to play, so it was pretty much all the starters, guys getting ready for the postseason.
So you were manager, sort of.
Yeah, but it was
it was definitely it's a lot of fun. I took my staff out, so I picked my coaching staff, and that we were in San Francisco, so I called them up. I said, listen, we have a coaches meeting at a restaurant, so we have a nice little staff meeting. It was great.
They actually coach first and third base, and you had a bench coach?
Yep.
Wow.
Solarte at 272 takes outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Dodgers this year 12-5 against San Diego. They have dominated the Padres since 2011. Popped up, center field, retreating a step or two. Kike Hernandez, and a 1-2-3 inning for Zach Greinke, needing just 11 pitches. When we come back for the bottom of the first, Kike Hernandez, Howie Kendrick, and Justin Turner to face Robbie Erlin. We'll send this lineup out tonight. Kike Hernandez, Howie Kendrick, and Justin Turner. Adrian Gonzalez, Justin Ruggiano, who's been lights out against lefties this year. Puig is back for the first time since August 28th. Grandal's been slumping throughout the month of September and into October. Greinke pitching and batting ninth. And the 24-year-old left-hander Robbie Erlin in his 3rd start.
Well, he pitched against the Dodgers last year. That's his only career start, and that came last year. But he's going to come at you with a fastball, curveball, changeup, and go ahead and jump on the first pitch and take it right back up the middle is what I recommend.
First pitch fastball, and Hernandez with a single to center.
Well, he's got a fastball that he throws over 65% of the time, so you can gear up, look for it on the outer half, and Kike Hernandez did an excellent job staying on it and taking it back up the middle. Oftentimes you're looking for a ball at that first pitch, thinking he might groove one down the middle, and you have a tendency to pull off, but Kike did not right there and stayed right on it.
Howie Kendrick stepping in. Kendrick at 295 takes a strike, and it's 0-1. Kendrick last night 2 for 4 and a couple of runs scored. Justin Turner is on deck. Today, October the 3rd, is the first day since September the 28th in which the Dodgers do not have a single player on the disabled list. They're getting healthy at the right time. When Puig came off the DL today, that was it. Peraza's unable to go, officially not on the DL. And Van Slyke has a bad thumb. In fact, he's got a splint on it, and he's looking very doubtful for the first round of the playoffs.
But with Yasiel coming off, that makes it, 39 players on the roster, so nobody on the DL, but a very crowded clubhouse.
And in San Francisco, where they have no bullpen seating. Up the middle, looks like Kendrick has just bounced into a double play. Dug out nicely by Brett Wallace, and there's 2 out. Defensively this evening for the Padres, just saw Wallace, Spangenberg at second, Jerko at short, and Solarte at third. Alexi Amarista making his second start in left field. Melvin Upton Jr. in center. Travis Jankowski is in right. Austin Hedges is catching. Of course, the Padres' regular outfield of Justin Upton, Will Myers, and Matt Kemp will finish the year on the shelf. And likely Upton's last couple of games as a Padre. Ball outside and low. 1 ball, no strikes to Justin Turner. Justin at 291. Max Scherzer is pitching in the bottom of the 9th in New York. He's got a 2-0 lead, and he's still working on a no-hitter. So the Dodgers are sitting pretty at the moment. Turner with a fly ball to center field. Upton going back, way back, and it is gone. A home run. Justin Turner with 16 home runs. That's a career high. Now 60 runs batted in, and the Dodgers take a 1-0 lead.
As soon as Kike Hernandez hit the first pitch for a base hit, there were murmurs in the Dodgers dugout saying, come on, jump on these guys early, we'll bury them, and they'll go away. Well, the double play erased that idea, but Justin Turner heard what's going on there.
Well, he took a fastball. What I like about it is where Justin Turner hit this one. Very similar to Kike Hernandez, taking the ball on the outer half and not pulling off the ball and trying to pull it, but instead staying on it, and he hit his to right center. And it's impressive showing off the power. We want to know about the health of Justin Turner. You know, he's had some knee issues, and sometimes it's hard to get all the power and the force. And we also took one off the forearm. But right there going to right center tells me he's got the power and he's feeling good.
Adrian Gonzalez takes outside. That is 1 ball and 1 strike. It's been a while. He's been sitting on 15 for more than a month. Gonzalez swings and misses. Turner's home run traveled 404 feet. Gonzalez in 17 games this year. 7 home runs, 17 runs batted in against San Diego. 2-2. So Robbie Erlin gives up the home run. The Dodgers have the lead. And that one is lined to left. Slicing away, and a spectacular catch turned in by Alexi Amarista. Hats off to Alexi. Playing just his 2nd game in left field. Very difficult play with the ball slicing away from him. But the Dodgers come up with a run on the Turner home run. Greinke has been given a 1-0 lead to work with as we head to the 2nd. Jed Jerko to lead it off in the second, takes a strike from Greinke, and it's 0-1. In New York, Max Scherzer is an out away from a no-hitter. Nationals with a 2-0 lead. And that would certainly give the Dodgers plenty of room to work with both tonight and tomorrow as Jerko bounces to Kendrick. Zach Greinke is in some rather exclusive company. Lowest single season ERA of the Dodgers, Brooklyn, or Los Angeles. Rube Marquardt pitched for both the Giants and the Dodgers. Ned Garvin was a foul-tempered fella. They threw him out of the game relatively early in his career, but boy, he could throw in the time that he did. Greinke and then Koufax in 66 and 64. That is the Coors Light cold hard facts. It is a no-hitter for Max Scherzer, his second of the year. Washington sweeps a doubleheader from the Mets. And if Greinke can do his business tonight and the Dodgers beat San Diego, the Dodgers will have home field advantage come Friday night. So Greinke, of course, in a pitched battle with Jake Arrieta. And a grounder slowly hit up the first base line. Easy play for Gonzalez.
What a game by Max Scherzer. 17 strikeouts, 109 pitches, 80 strikes. 109 pitches.
And this is how it came to an end. Curtis Granderson would pop it up. Last time a pitcher had 2 no-hitters in a single season, you have to go back to 1973 and Nolan Ryan. So for the Nationals, a miserable year, but finally something to cheer about as they approach the finish line.
And only one batter reached, and that was on a throwing error by Escobar at third base. And I tell you, when you see your pitcher dominate that well in a game, and you're going, my error cost the perfect game. Oh.
And Escobar caught the final out, the pop-up.
Remember last year, Kershaw, the near-perfect game. Hanley Ramirez booted one. People forget the very next play. Miguel Rojas made a spectacular play behind third base to save the no-hitter.
The flying squirrel.
So Amarista at 206. 3 home runs and 30 runs batted in. 1 ball, 2 strikes. So now with the Nationals having shut out the Mets 2-0 in the nightcap, 3-1 this afternoon on the Harper home run in the 8th. And this one's popped up a million miles in the air. Rollins is out and Hernandez is in. It's like Jimmy was running interference for him or something. Nothing across. Perfect through 2 for Greinke. And the Dodgers close in on home field advantage. Justin Ruggiano, Yasiel Puig, and Yasmani Grandal. So a couple of interesting stories, all three interesting stories in and of themselves here in the second inning. Ruggiano, who has been lights out since coming to the Dodgers against left-handed pitching in particular. Swings and misses, and it's 0-1. Puig on deck. His first appearance in more than a month. And Yasmani Grandal has really struggled in September and on into early October. In the dusk. Third baseman Solardi never saw it.
And I'll tell you, Ruggiano just missed that one. That's one of those you just got under. He saw it well and took a big swing and just popped it up a mile high.
So 1 out, nobody on, and here is Puig. It's been a while. He was often forgotten up until about 2 or 3 days ago. And then Mattingly says he's having a legendary and miraculous comeback. Well, here he is, and what he has to offer, we're all going to find out together. He's had 2 hamstring pulls this year, 1 on each side. Into right. Sprinting in is Jankowski, and he can't hang on.
I think Yasiel was interested to see what he has too, and probably a little disappointed he just lazily hit that fly ball to right, because he is not running out of the box and just really became a spectator. We know how good he can run, and if he hustles on this ball, you never know what could happen. And as this ball gets away, I was a little disappointed as one that he had not reached first base yet.
I mean, Oral, with his speed, and that's what we're talking about, we're going to judge whether he's ready for the postseason. Well, first and foremost, you want to see if he's healthy. And the health comes the way you get out of the batter's box, the way you explode.
Grandal takes a strike.
And he didn't there. If Yasiel was running hard the way he's capable, or when he's healthy running hard, he has a chance at getting to second base.
So Puig is aboard. Grandal's been struggling.
I really believe, Yasiel, we want him to be healthy. We want to welcome him back. But he's going to be evaluated on the tools he brings, and he could have shown that his legs were healthy right there. He might not have made him to second, but he could have showed us that patented Yasiel Puig big turn and electricity.
Well, they're making decisions down the stretch, and we've seen how even young guys who are September call-ups, who are going to make this team for the postseason because they've made an impact right from the get-go. Opportunities there, and they've capitalized on it. And hopefully Yasiel recognizes, well, here's an opportunity right now for him, because he's not etched in stone to make this postseason.
And Grandal, who has really struggled, he's now 3 for his last 47 as he bounces into the inning-ending double play. No runs and 1 base hit. Will go to the third on the Turner home run. The Dodgers have a 1-0 lead. Up on the Dodger Stadium Express, either from Union Station or the South Bay. It's free for all ticket holders, and service begins about 90 minutes before the game and 5 minutes after the last out. For more information, go to Dodgers.com/express. This is Austin Hedges stepping in. Had a good year at AAA. He's had 129 at-bats with the Padres. Not hitting much up here. Hedges, Jankowski, and Erlin to bat for San Diego in the third. And Greinke's on top of his game. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Well, Greinke is at the top of the charts in most of the pitching categories. Of course, Arrieta has more wins. He's closing in on Greinke on the ERA. 1 ball and 2 strikes. It will make for a wonderful offseason debate. Who's the man? Greinke and his consecutive shutout streak. And of course, Arrieta and the no-hitter against the Dodgers here. 1-2 up the middle into center field for a base hit. Austin Hedges, a leadoff single in the third.
Of the 3 candidates, Zach Greinke has been the most consistent. There have been parts of the season where Clayton Kershaw has shined a little bit more than Zach. There have been parts of the season where Jake Arrieta has shined a little bit more than Zach. But there has been no part of the season that Zach hasn't been one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball.
In fact, he has never seen his ERA go over 2. Last time that happened, Roger Clemens a decade ago. At no point in the season has Greinke's ERA gone north of 2. Here's Jankowski, who checks his swing.
I just keep going back to thinking how many wins Zach Greinke would have had during that game where he had nine starts in a row, and he had no decisions in 7 of them. 2 of the decisions he got lost. One of them, the loss, he got only given up 1 earned run. So he went through a stretch there where it was just 1 earned run, 1. He gave up 5, granted. Now that one ended up being a no decision. Dodgers helped him out with that one. Then it was 1, then it was just 2, then 0-0, and still getting no decisions on that. Dodgers gave him less than 2 runs of support during that 9-game stretch.
Less than 1.5. I think it was 1.33.
1 ball and 1 strike.
So he's at 18 wins, going for his 19th tonight. And if during that stretch the Dodgers would have just gave him an average amount of runs, give him 4 more, he'd have the same as Arrieta. And if they would have given him some nice solid support, he might have gotten 6 or 7 wins.
And of course, from June the 18th through July 26th, 45 2/3 consecutive shutout innings of a terrific play turned in by Turner.
Well, that was borderline distance for both Justin Turner and this bunt. An excellent bunt right there, and Justin comes in and gloves it and wrong foots it. And Nomar, you know more about that play than I do.
Well, what's hard to do here is to make sure, because your ball's naturally going to tail because you're throwing off the run. And as you're dropping down to throw sidearm to make that play, and it tails into the runner as he's going down to first base. So you really force yourself to try to keep it inside without really yanking the ball, throwing it inside, and throwing it an errant throw. That was a perfect throw. He did everything right there to make that play. And your first baseman appreciates it because you're scared, because in your mind you're thinking that ball, I might have to reach in as the runner's coming down to first base.
Robbie Erlin stepping in. 0 for 4 at the big league level this year. And he squares. Another good bunt. And another good play by Justin Turner.
He's getting some work on it. I'll tell you, there's a perfect example. The difference in the throws, that one actually took Adrian into the base path. as he's throwing his. Everything was a great play as he got around that ball too. That was the key too. First you got to go outside of the ball where it's hit to get to that glove side, but he also watch this slight round right there so you can get your momentum and a good throw going to first base. But he got rid of it so quickly, allowed Adrian to adjust over there.
So a leadoff single, a couple of sacrifices with 2 out. Corey Spangenberg stepping in. The Dodgers with the 1-0 lead. It's been Justin Turner night to this point. The home run and 2 terrific defensive plays turned in here in the third. Turner, for one, is going to be looking forward to a few days off after the completion of the game tomorrow. Rest his knee. There's a strike. 1-1 to Spangenberg, who bounced to second base in his first at bat.
That's a subject Charlie brought up, Nomar, right there. There's a balance between I want to play because it's going to be a long time until we play, compared to I want to make sure none of these nagging injuries turn into something where I'm hurt.
Spangenberg grounds it up the first base line. It is a fair ball, according to home plate umpire Lance Barrett. And Gonzalez makes the play unassisted. The runs and a hit. After 2.5, Turner and the Dodgers 1-0. Of LA, the Coliseum. We visit the iconic stadium that has hosted the city's most historic events for nearly a century, from the '84 Olympics to the Dodgers' '59 World Series. Catch Sports Shrines of LA, the Coliseum, tomorrow at 8 o'clock, right here on Sportsnet LA. Here's Jimmy Rollins beginning the third. Rollins at 226.
Enough can't be said about Jimmy Rollins and the way he has handled Corey Seager's fast start.
Golfs it into short right. There's Jankowski.
I mean, you said it, Oral. Listening to Corey Seager even talk about Jimmy Rollins, how he's helped him at spring training, how he's helped him since he's been called up here in September, how he learned so much from him. And then there's also a question on who's going to be starting out there possibly at short. Even Don Mattingly had to give a definitive answer out there between Corey Seager and Jimmy Rollins. And when you look back at that game against the Giants with Madison Bumgarner, that felt like a playoff game, and you had Corey Seager, a left-hander, versus a tough left-handed pitcher.
Zach Greinke fouls it back. It's 0-1.
Which might be very telling, especially as Jimmy Rollins has been swinging the bat extremely well from the right side. But Jimmy embracing it, still there, being a great teammate, understands, listen, it's in manager's hands, he's decide, but he knows when he's called upon he's going to be able to get the job done, go out there and perform. He's been there before. He's had success in the postseason before, and all he cares about is winning the ring.
Of course, Jimmy is a veteran. He can keep things in perspective. To quote W.C. Fields, better here than Philadelphia. And oh, by the way, he was basically hired to be the bridge between this year and next year for Seager as Greinke goes down on strikes.
The bridge might have got built faster than we thought. I'll tell you what, it's a really nice bridge. Corey Seager has been absolutely amazing.
Well, they had good weather, so they were able to bridge to build it. So. But no, you're exactly right. I think everybody's been, I mean, not necessarily surprised because they knew they had the talent, but at the same time, just the success so early that he's had, it's great to see.
So 2 out, nobody on, and Kike Hernandez, first pitch of the game, spanked a single into center field on a fastball. And Kike back off the DL has been on fire.
And we've really had a lot of opportunities on this team to find out who could be the good teammates. Juan Uribe, when he was slowly starting to lose his job at third base, he was an outstanding teammate right up to when he was traded. Andre Ethier proved it in the last 2 or 3 years, as his job was at risk at times, and he continued to perform and stay on top of things and be in shape, and now has had an exceptional year.
With the lefty Erlin starting, Ethier watching. 1-2 with 2 out in the bottom of the third. Slowly hit to short. That's Jerko. And Erlin retires the Dodgers in order. A third of the way through the game on the Turner home run. The Dodgers and Greinke have a 1-0 lead. Is brought to you by the 2015 Jeep Cherokee with an EPA estimated 31 highway MPG. It's the perfect choice. Visit Jeep.com today. You're looking at Tim Wallach. There's a reason for that. Max Scherzer pitched his second no-hitter of the year. The last no-hitter in the second game of a doubleheader. May 10th, 1981, Charlie Lee for the Expos against the Giants at Old Olympic Stadium. Now, why in the world do we have Tim Wallach's face on the television? Wallach was Charlie Lee's third baseman that day, hit a home run, and got hit by a pitch twice. So it took 2 for the team. And Charlie Lee. So tonight, Scherzer, in the second game of the doubleheader, Washington sweeps the Mets. A no-hitter, struck out 17.
And a footnote to that no-hitter, with no walks, he's the first pitcher to throw 2 no-hitters without walks ever in MLB history.
Wow.
Almost had the perfect game tonight. An error by Escobar. Almost had a perfect game against the Pirates, and Jose Tabata got hit by a pitch. And there were those who say, well, he kind of leaned into it a little bit.
Well, it gets me thinking, you know, Oral, As hitters, sometimes you have that great day. You can be 4 for 4, 5 for 5. Have incredible days. As pitchers, you have that great start, and you have 4 or 5 days to embrace it. Hitters, usually the next day you're back out there and it's gone because this game can humble you so quick.
Melvin Upton takes high, 2-2.
If you're not back out there after going 4 for 4, the manager's getting fired.
Right. But at the same time, how about having a whole offseason to dwell on that, right? It's not 4 days. All right, got to get back out there and focus. You get the whole offseason to enjoy it.
Well, he's had a great year. The Nationals have had a miserable time of it. Nationals with their 2 wins today, 83-78. And by reading all the preseason periodicals, they had the World Series won by the 1st of April. But on the 3rd of October, Upton down on strikes. Second time he's been struck out by Greinke. It's the first out of the 4th.
To rub salt in the Nationals' wound, they had to look across the field at the Mets in the last series. The team that really put it together in the East.
Well, they got a little bit of revenge today with the 2-out, 2-run home run in the 8th inning by Bryce Harper in the first game. And the near perfect game by Scherzer in the second, which is nothing but good news for the Dodgers, who all they do is they can win tonight with Greinke going or Kershaw tomorrow. They will entertain the Mets on Friday. There's a strike, 1 ball and 1 strike. And Hervis Solarte flied to center field in his first at bat. The former Yankee came over in the deal for Chase Headley. Both teams happy with the way the deal worked out. Kendrick.
Wow. Howie did a good job staying with that ball because his right foot slipped from underneath him as he went to get that ball. So as he goes to plant, he kind of goes, see that right foot just kind of slide underneath him, and he's still able to stay with it. And I think after you slip, he's like, forget it, I won't even bother getting up off this knee to throw it.
A veteran, not the least bit hurried. 2 out, and Jerko coming up. Jed Jerko bounced to second base in his first at bat, takes a strike, gets nothing in 1. Well, statistically, you would think tonight is a mismatch. After all, Greinke in 11 career starts against the Padres, 5-1, a 1.61 ERA, has the lowest ERA in baseball and has all year. Then you throw into the mix, the Padres have the lowest team batting average in Major League Baseball and the lowest on-base percentage. So you got to like the numbers, but they still have to play the game. Here's the 0-2, just outside.
Wow, it's a great 2-seamer. He starts as a ball, ends up almost a strike. That kind of fastball command is why he's going to win a Cy Young, in my opinion. He is more of a pitcher now than he ever was when he won it in 2009. A little bit more of a thrower then, with unbelievable stuff.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Jerko with Brett Wallace on deck.
In 2009, he went 16-8 with a 2.12, struck out 242 batters, won the ERA title, and he's got a chance to duplicate that now on the National League side now with the Dodgers. Win the ERA title, win the Cy Young.
Here's the 2-2. Watch out.
If you go back and watch old video of Zach Greinke, he was a much more of a twisting, camouflage type pitcher. Now he hides the ball behind his leg and his upper torso from a straight angular delivery. Before, he took a big turn and twisted a lot more.
Here's the 2-2. Outside.
It looks like he's so much more in control now. And then you also see just when he finishes, Oro, how he's ready to field as well.
Well, remember how nervous we were in spring training when we knew he needed to get a injection in his elbow to kind of lubricate it. And that's been something he's been battling through the years. And I think the mechanical change was to stabilize his body a little bit more, get a little bit more, keeping the body mass on line to protect his elbow than have the body being twisted and falling towards first base and coming away from the arm and putting more pressure on the elbow. And I think this delivery is for him is more efficient, and it really is safer.
The elbow was a quart low, and it's been fine ever since. Here's a 3-2. First walk of the game, a 2-out walk to Jerko. That wasn't the first time that Greinke had that elbow injected with the lubricant.
If they'd have had that stuff when I was pitching, I'd have got it as often as possible.
In more than one, and then just one place.
Back, 2 knees, 1 elbow.
Brett Wallace bounced to first base in his first at bat. Yonder Alonso has missed so much time this year at first base. Bad shoulder. And Wallace fouls it off his foot. This is a San Diego team that laid an egg right out of the starting gate. Then they were beset by injuries. Matt Kemp finishing the season on the shelf. Bad finger. Justin Upton, he is done. Bad neck. And Will Myers is done. Bad wrist. Alonso's been done for a long time. Parts never did seem to mesh in San Diego this year. Wallace takes low. 1 ball, 1 strike. So Pat Murphy came on. Bud Black was 32 and 33 when he was fired. Since Murphy took over, the Padres are 42 and 52. Dave Roberts, his bench coach. Here's the 1-1. Breaking ball. That's a beauty. 1-2. So Greinke, with but 52 pitches at this point, in search of his 19th win and closing in on the ERA championship. To second base, Kendrick has it to Gonzalez, and that's that. Del Ruzzo hits a walk and a man left after 3.5 on Turner's home run. He's batting second in the bottom of the 4th. 1-0 Dodgers. Their family in 2016 by signing up now for the season ticket wait list. Registered fans will be contacted by a Dodgers season ticket representative on a first-come, first-served basis. Visit Dodgers.com/season tickets or call 323-DODGERS today. Here's Howie Kendrick. Swinging and missing, and it's 0-1.
Well, we've been talking about Zach Greinke putting up another 0-0 so far. We've been talking about home field advantage. And the Dodgers, we're talking about trying to put San Diego away early. Well, here they are in the second time through the lineup. This is a chance to try to put some runs up. They need to put some runs up. Give some Zach some run support here.
Kendrick bounced into a double play in his first at-bat. Turner with the home run on deck and Gonzalez to follow. And Howie Kendrick bounces one into right field for a base hit. So a leadoff single in the fourth for Howie Kendrick.
It's a nice swing by Howie Kendrick. One of the reasons he can come off the DL and really get right back to hitting without a lot of timing issues, because he has such a simple swing. Short, compact, only usually goes to one side of the field in his mind. If he hits the ball to left, it's usually because it's an off-speed pitch. And Nomar, the thing you said about getting some runs for Zach, it also then lowers the stress of every pitch that he throws, and that would be key if he wants a normal workload start tonight, but lower the stress a little bit for him.
Turner fouls it back. Now take a look at our Arco top-tier play, and it came in the first inning. Justin Turner, 404 feet later, it would land in center field. His 16th home run of the year. No balls and a strike. Gonzalez on deck. Upton in center, shaded toward left center. And it's fouled off to the right. So a couple of follow-ups on the Scherzer no-hitter. It was the second time this year the Mets were no-hit at home. Chris Heston did it back on June the 9th. And the Mets are the fourth team ever to get no-hit twice in one season at home. And after the game, Jacob deGrom said that Terry Collins told him he will be the Game 1 starter. And by the looks of it, slicing to right, and it's a foul ball. By the looks of it, deGrom will start on Friday and probably here. Dodgers, of course, were no-hit twice this year. Once here and once on the road. Mike Fiers in Houston and Jake Arrieta here. So then the question will be, who will be the first game starter for the Dodgers? Lined into right field. That's going to drop in for a base hit. Kendrick will go to third base easily. Turner holds it first. The Dodgers are in business. Runners are at the corners and nobody out. And Justin Turner is 2 for 2.
Well, these types of hits are a beautiful thing as a hitter, because you didn't hit this very well. This ball kind of jams you, but he still stayed on it. Off speed. He's out front just a little bit, but stays inside of it. It's almost one of those where it's a slow curveball inside, but you're still fighting it off. Not fighting off that hard ball, that hard pitch inside, but an off-speed one on the inner half that's kind of coming at you, and it feels like it's going to eat you up. But he fights it off and hits a nice base hit to right.
Now Gonzalez, the only left-handed hitter in Mattingly's lineup tonight, checks his swing, and it's 1 ball, no strikes. Gonzalez lined to left in his first at-bat. And Alexi Amarista, making his second start in left field, robbed Gonzalez of a double. Ball kept slicing away in a diving catch by Amarista. There's a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I really love that Turner at bat because it looked like he was trying to work the ball away from the Padre defense. And I think when we get into the playoffs and shifts are against us, players will come out of their normal game and away from their normal spray chart to beat somebody in a playoff game.
1-1. Gonzalez to the right side. Looks like a 4-6-3 double play. That's what it is, but in to score is Kendrick, and the Dodgers take a 2-0 lead.
Justin Turner in his at-bat, Nomar, they were playing him to pull on the ground. He hit a foul ball over the right side. He hit another foul ball over the right side, and then hit a sliced ball to right field, and looked like he was definitely trying to hit against the defense.
Yeah, looked like he was trying to stay inside the ball. And sometimes that shift just tells you, which is a good approach. We just talked about Howie Kendrick. That's Howie Kendrick's approach, staying inside and going the other way. And there are times where you might be feeling off and you want to be reminded of the right approach. And if they put the shift on and give you that space, it helps you get in the right mindset. And it looked like Justin Turner was working on that and had success doing it.
1 ball, 1 strike to Justin Ruggiano, who popped to third in his first at-bat. So the Dodgers with a 2-0 lead. They beat the Padres last night 6-2. For Robbie Erlin, his third start of the year. As Ruggiano comes up empty, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Ruggiano .349 against left-handed pitching since coming to the Dodgers. But it's just 1 for 9 against right-handers. The 2-2 inside, 3 balls, 2 strikes. Dodgers with a 2-0 lead. They've out-hit the Padres 5-1. 2 out, a run in, bottom of the 4th, and Ruggiano is done. So the Dodgers come up with a run and 2 base hits. Don't leave anybody. We'll go to the 5th. They've got a 2-0 lead with Greinke on the hill. Playing in left field. You wouldn't know it by the play that he made, robbing Adrian Gonzalez in the first inning. Worthy of another look on the Morongo Casino slow-mo cam. Ball kept slicing away, and he made a spectacular play. And he's leading it off here in the 5th. And Greinke closing in on the ERA title. Amarista takes a strike, and it's 0-1. Amarista, Hedges, and Jankowski will be batting for the Padres here in the 5th. Another typical, methodical, economical performance from Zach Greinke.
Sometimes it looks like he never breaks a sweat. Just out there, every move is precise, which leads to great accuracy with the ball.
The consistency of a metronome. Amarista popped to short in his first at-bat and barely stays alive.
You were talking about Orel, how when he won his Cy Young back in 2009, how he's changed as a pitcher. Right now, he just reminds me so much of Greg Maddux. Just the way he controls the game, way he plays defense out there as well. But he always seems to be 2 to 3 pitches ahead.
He's also won a Gold Glove, you know.
A tremendous athlete, Silver Slugger, Gold Glove, Cy Young, and he can really get off the mound and get to the ball. Gets over there and controls his body enough to turn back to first base, accurately throws to Adrian Gonzalez. And this is not an easy play, but he understands how to increase his stride, to close the distance, and then to narrow it down with the choppy steps to regain his balance. Another outstanding play.
Amarista runs well, too, so there's 1 out and nobody on. Austin Hedges coming in. Hedges a single to center in his first at-bat. The only base hit off Greinke tonight. It's a strike, 0-1. More about the Scherzer no-hitter, his second of the year. Last one to have 2 in a season, Nolan Ryan in '73. Virgil Trucks in 1952. That one is well hit to left center field. And Austin Hedges leaves the building. What a shot. His third of the year. And the Padres are on the board 2-1. Greinke gives up his 14th home run.
This was an absolute no-doubter, and we've seen this from Zack Greinke. He'll give up home runs a lot of times, even when his team has the lead. He's just trying. He'll go out there, he'll challenge you, throw strikes. This one, he just missed his location. They wanted that ball down and away. It goes up and over the middle of the plate, and Austin Hedges did not miss.
Over the hedges, over the wall. And it's a 2-1 Dodger lead. Meanwhile, back to Scherzer in the no-hitter. Nolan Ryan had 2 in 1973. Virgil Trucks in 1952. A comebacker. Greinke will throw out Jankowski, 2 out. In '52, when Trucks had the 2 no-hitters, he went 5 and 19 that year. Allie Reynolds in '51 with 2 no-hitters, and of course Johnny Vandermeer had back-to-back no-hitters with the Cincinnati Reds. The second one coming against the Dodgers in the first ever night game at Ebbets Field.
The second no-hitter of Vandermeer was the first ever night game
at Ebbets Field. Yes, sir.
The hitters weren't used to the lights.
If I was a hitter, that's what I would use. I'd go with that one. It's the first time.
Wow.
This light thing is terrible. Bad idea.
Wow.
0-2.
I can't imagine the
Robbie
quality
Earl.
of the lights back then.
What do you mean? It's just like this.
Strike 3, that ends the inning. So Greinke gives up the home run, strikes out his third hitter of the night, and at the halfway mark after 4.5, Dodgers 2-1. Southern California Toyota dealers. The time is short, but the savings are big at Toyota's Clearance Countdown, going on now. Here it's 2-1 as we head to the bottom of the fifth in Phoenix. The Astros have a 3-1 lead in the bottom half of the sixth inning. Of course, the Angels and their fans watching that game very closely after the Angels' remarkable ninth inning comeback win in Texas. Well, here is Yasiel Puig. His first game since the end of August. Single to right in his first at-bat, and we'll be watching closely to see how that hamstring has progressed. He wasn't even mentioned until a couple of days ago, and then out of the blue, Mattingly tells a pregame scrum in San Francisco he has had a miraculous, legendary recovery. Here's the 0-1, way upstairs and outside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Meanwhile, Erlin has done well to this point. 2 strikeouts, no walks on the short end of a 2-1 score against Greinke. Inside, 2 balls and a strike to Yasiel Puig. This year he has damaged the left hamstring and the right one. Has played in just 77 games. Not running real hard. I don't know if that's a preventative measure or what, but either way, he has grounded out in the first out of the fifth.
For fans wondering how that home run affected Zach Greinke's ERA, Jake Arrieta is at a 1.77, and that home run with Zach's 5 innings, it takes him to a 1.68, so he's still in the lead.
According to the mathematicians, Greinke will clinch the ERA title outright by giving up 3 runs or fewer in 5 or more innings, giving him no worse than a 1.76, 1.762 ERA as opposed to Arrieta's 1.769. Yasmani Grandal bounced into a double play in his first at-bat and is now 3 for his last 47. 3 for his last 48. 2 gone in the fifth. And Jimmy Rollins coming up. Number 11, Jimmy Rollins. Well, how about the Angels come back today?
Did they get 5 in the 9th? That was on the Rangers bullpen.
The Rangers were that close to clinching the AL West. So the Angels live to see another day, but the Astros are in control of their own destiny. And Houston with a 3-0 lead, bottom of the fifth in Arizona. Dodgers win tonight, and around the National League there won't be a whole lot to play for tomorrow. Into right field, Jankowski. And a 1-2-3 inning. So nothing across. We'll go to the 6th. The Dodgers maintain a 2-1 lead. 6. Well, there's tomorrow, and then 4 days off, and then the Mets. And if the Dodgers win tonight or tomorrow with Kershaw going, Game 1 on Friday right here at Dodger Stadium. Jacob deGrom said that he was told after the game tonight by Terry Collins that he will be starting Game 1. We don't know who will be the Game 1 starter on Friday. I suppose if we were to guess, it would be Kershaw.
Just because of the information we have on what kind of workload, Zach is getting a full start and Clayton is talking about a shortened start.
And then the other question is, if there is a Game 5, who can you bring back more readily?
And I think Clayton is the larger of the two animals and has come back on 3 days rest before.
The big warhorse. Spangenberg, 1 ball and 1 strike as we begin the 6th. The Astros a 4-1 lead over Arizona in the top half of the 7th inning. Greinke can't reach it, and a leadoff single for the speedy Corey Spangenberg.
Even though Zach Greinke doesn't catch this ball, it shows how good athlete he is. Look how he finishes. Head, eyes right on it. Reaction's a little slow, but a lot of pitchers, this ball is undressing them because they're only seeing it with one eye and they're moving, falling towards first base, and it startles them. Zach Greinke actually had a chance to catch it.
Instead, Spangenberg, who's stolen 9 bases this year, with the leadoff single to center. 2 runs and 5 hits for the Dodgers, a run and 3 hits for the Padres. Upton Jr. has been struck out twice.
It's amazing when you have a pitcher like Zach Greinke that plays so well defensively. As a middle infielder, it increases my range up the middle because I could almost give more up the middle, play more toward the holes because you trust that he's going to make the play more often than not on balls back up the middle.
Upton with 5 home runs takes low and outside. You can cheat or adjust because of the pitcher.
Yeah, I used to glance to see where my middle infielders were to know whether to pull my glove back, especially with the man on first on a routine double play, or to let the ball go through. You know, you just want to, you don't want to deflect it. You don't want to do those ones where, oh my gosh, Jimmy was right there. Oh my gosh, Howie was right there.
He was set up. Yep.
And you got to know that. Like right now with Zach with a man on first, he's got to know where those guys are because he has a lot of range.
Kendrick and Rollins up the middle. 1 and 2 to Upton. Solarte's on deck. Nobody out here in the 6th.
When you know where those middle infielders are, even if it's leave it alone so you eliminate the relay throw to them, that's a lot quicker double play.
On 1 and 2, Upton has been struck out for the 3rd time tonight. That's the first out of the 6th.
Disappearing slider from Zach Greinke. The league is only hitting 163 on this pitch, and you can see why. Looks like a fastball away for a strike and then just disappears straight down. Junior had no chance at that.
First out of the 6th. Yangervis Solarte stepping in. He's flied to center and bounced to second. Up the middle, past Kendrick into center field. So the Padres have a bit of a rally going here. First and second and 1 out.
Shortstop, Jed Jerko.
A lot of hustle out there in center field. Nomar from Kike Hernandez charging that ball and holding the runner to just second base.
Yeah, he wants to make sure he doesn't allow that runner to get to third with less than 2 outs because it changes this entire at bat for Jerko, and it also changes the approach that Zach Greinke has to take with a man on third base and less than 2 outs. So now his approach is saying, okay, I'm still looking for that ground ball to get that double play. Not that he wouldn't be looking for that with the man on third base, but at the same time, the hitter's not cutting down the ball in the bottom half and looking for the pitch up for the sacrifice fly.
Jed Jerko has bounced out and has walked. He also has 16 home runs on the year. The Padres' only run, Austin Hedges hit a home run in the 5th. Justin Turner's hit a home run tonight, his 16th. That was in the 1st inning. And the Dodgers would score another run in the 4th. A couple of hits and a double play. Ball strike, 0-2. Well, the Phillies clinched something tonight. The #1 pick in the draft. No balls and 2 strikes. Off to the right. Puig can't quite reach it. A year ago, he would have been crashing into or through the wall.
You know, as I watched him go after this ball, it wasn't Yasiel Puig light, and that's a little scary as he slides to the wall there and loses his footing. But oftentimes we would see him kind of really sprint to the wall and almost then break it down as he's getting to the wall. But that one, he was just kind of kept the same pace all the way to the wall. And it's hard, you know, I'm sure that hamstring is either still not 100%, even though we're hearing that it supposedly is, or it's still in the back of his mind as far as making sure. I mean, I'll tell you, it's hard as a player when you're like, okay, I pulled one hamstring over the course, and then I pulled the other one, so I have 2 hamstrings that aren't necessarily 100%, or that I've already injured over the course of this season, to now come back and just think I can just explode as if nothing has happened. Not too easy.
Puig has played in just 77 games this year and missed 74. A matching set of pulled hamstrings. We're already told he's not going to start tomorrow, so this is kind of an audition as much as anything else. Spangenberg and Solarte are the runners. 1-2 with 1 out in the 6th. And Greinke gets the strikeout when he needs it. That's his 5th of the night. Jerko's down and Wallace coming up.
We mentioned the slider, the league hitting 163. Well, off of that 2-seamer / changeup, the league is hitting 165. They're really the 2 best pitches in his arsenal as far as what the league will hit off of them.
Hey, they're hitting a 188 overall. Brett Wallace has bounced to first and bounced to second. 2 out in the 6th. He went around and it's 0-1.
I looked at, we've seen his slider strikeout Upton Jr. Then we see his changeup strikeout Jerko. And as a hitter, I'm looking at both of those pitches going, okay, they both started off in the same plane, in the same part of the strike zone. One breaks the other way away from the righty. The other one breaks into the righty, both down. And both late breaks, too. That's also very important, that, and a lot of the reasons why he's been so successful this year is his off-speed pitches have had a late break where you don't really recognize it right out of their hand.
One ball, 1 strike, and 2 out. Wallace, a first-round pick back in 2008 of the Cardinals. They thought he was going to be a big star. There's a strike, 1-2. He would eventually end up in Houston for 4 years. Then he'd bounce around some at Double and Triple A. Went to Arizona State. Now Wallace is 29 years old and he has been struck out. Greinke strikes out the side. Couple of hits. The Padres lead 2, and after 5.5, Greinke and the Dodgers 2-1. Baseball Injury Conference, November 20th, 21st, and 22nd at the J.W. Marriott LA Live, led by LA Dodgers team physician Dr. Neil Elatraj. Visit baseballmedicineconference.com for more information. I just pulled a hammy announcing. Greinke to lead it off. Doc, it hurts when I do this. Greinke struck out in his first at-bat, fouls it back. It's 0-1. Astros 4-1. They're playing in the 7th inning in Arizona. So the Angels, with their miraculous comeback today, still will need help tomorrow. The Cincinnati Reds, of course, have endured a miserable year. First time in more than a quarter of a century they will finish in last place. Having said that, the Reds announced today that Brian Price will be back. It doesn't sound like the same can be said for Matt Williams. Oh, 2 to Greinke with Kike Hernandez on deck. And Greinke is done. Third strikeout for Robbie Erlin.
Center fielder, Kike Hernandez.
But tonight, the Dodgers can send a fruit plate to the Washington Nationals and their manager, as the Nationals sweep the Mets today. 3-1 in the first game, a Max Scherzer no-hitter in the second game. So their two high-priced talents Bryce Harper, and Max Scherzer.
It seems like they can just send the fruit plate to Scherzer. That performance. Wow.
Harper's 8th inning home run won the first game. And so now the Dodgers, all they need to do is win tonight or tomorrow, and at the moment, Greinke as Mattingly's club up a run. Double barrel action in the Padre bullpen. The righty Nick Vincent and the lefty Mark Zepchinski. Meanwhile, Erlin has pitched well. This is his 65th pitch. And Kike got underneath it. Amarista. Bring up Howie Kendrick. Last year, the Dodgers finished with 94 wins. At the moment, they're 90 and 70. They're about where they were last year, and it's call strike, 0-1. But the Dodgers have had a great home record this year, 53 and 26. The road, of course, has been an issue. 7 under 500 away from Dodger Stadium. To shortstop. Nice easy hop for Jerko. Very nice easy inning for Robbie Erlin. Kendrick bounces to short, will go to the 7th. Dodgers 2-1. Play daily fantasy baseball for free on DraftKings.com. Use promo code BLUECREW for free entry. Well, Zach Greinke has just about clinched the ERA championship. Things would have to get undone in a real hurry. Arrieta, then Kershaw. Amarista to lead it off. And a call strike, 0-1. Alexi Amarista has popped to short and bounced back to Greinke. Greinke's given up a run and 4 hits, a solo home run to Austin Hedges, who's on deck. That one's popped up a million miles in the air. Kendrick makes the catch, and that's the first out of the 7th. Hedges singled to center in his first at-bat and homered to left center in his second. Only run of the game for the Padres, who were held to 2 runs and 6 hits last night by Alex Wood, Joel Peralta, and Pedro Baez. There's a strike, 0-1 to Austin Hedges. Hedges born in San Juan Capistrano and lives in Tustin. And with that, his 3rd home run of the season. Hedges' 2nd-round pick in 2011 by the Padres. Not bad being picked by your hometown team. The 0-2. Into short right. Kendrick taking charge and making the catch.
Now, Charlie, this is a full start for Zack Greinke. 32 starts, gone at least 6 innings in every single one of his starts. Low pitch count of the year was 81 back on June 2nd. High pitch count of the year was on July 19th, 119. Now at 88. He got a full day's work, and he's still out there.
Coming into tonight, his last 16 starts, 13-1 and a 1 2/3 ERA. Sean Kelly, a right-hander, now warming up in the San Diego bullpen. Travis Jankowski, sacrifice and bounce back to the box. High and away. So if, as we are assuming, and that's always dangerous business, that Kershaw starts on Friday, Greinke will pitch a week from tonight.
And I think that's why he's getting the full workload, and that's what he wanted. This is not about a selfish desire of the ERA title or the Cy Young. The ERA title, if it was a selfish desire, he could have come out before this inning to protect the ERA. And as far as the Cy Young, he just wants to win his 19th game, get the Dodgers home field advantage, and get a full day's work because he's going to get that extra rest if it's game 2.
Two balls, 2 strikes, and 2 out of the top of the 7th. 2-1 Dodgers. Under the knees, now 3-2. Coming into the game tonight, since 2011, the Dodgers are 59-32 against the Padres. They've won 65% of their games against the Pods. That's the most one-sided record within a National League division over the last 4+ years. And Greinke on 3-2. We'll do it again. Greinke has 6 strikeouts. He is 2 from 200. Three balls, 2 strikes, and 2 out. Call strike 3. That'll end the inning with the 199th strikeout of the season. 7th inning stretch. Dodgers 2 and the Padres 1. the Astros now have a 5-1 lead. They are playing in Arizona. And so the Astros, barring a collapse, but then again the Rangers barring a collapse today. If Houston hangs on, they will go into the final day of the season 1 game in front of the Angels. Greinke's been terrific, and there's nobody warming in the Dodger pen. Justin Turner has homered and singled to right and takes inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Meanwhile, Robbie Erlin has had an outstanding pitching performance tonight.
17 of 20 first pitch strikes. But the guy at the plate, he fell behind. 1-0 and 2-1, and then came the home run that Justin Turner hit.
He's pitching well, and you're looking at, but the Dodger hitters have taken some big swings off of him and have just missed. And a perfect example was that last pitch by Justin Turner. He fouled that one off.
1 ball, 2 strikes. 2-2. The Dodgers this year against left-handed starters are 23-19 as a group hitting .265. Against righties 67-51, but a lower batting average. Now 3-2.
I loved swings and I loved foul balls. More information for me. It's such an information exchange, and the most intimidating thing for me as a pitcher was to throw a great pitch to you guys and have you take it. Like, what's he looking for?
Turner down on strikes. And for Erlin, that is his 4th strikeout of the game.
And that's funny you say that, because there are times when I'm swinging and I swing early, and I'm glad I fouled it off as compared to putting it in play, because that's giving me information as well. Not only just from you as a pitcher, but on myself. But I know, and also, what did I do wrong in that swing? Did I fly open hoping, if he throws that again, I know I mishit it. I know what I got to do to make the adjustment so I can square that up.
One out. Gonzalez 0 for 2. Robbed of a base hit in his first at-bat. On a line drive slicing away from left fielder Alexi Amarisa, made a spectacular headlong diving catch. With first and third, 1 man out in the 5th, Gonzalez would bounce into a double play. Kendrick would come in to score the 2nd run of the game. And the only run for San Diego, Austin Hedges a home run in the 5th. The ball, a strike, and an out in the bottom of the 7th. By the way, tomorrow's start time, unusually early for a Sunday. First pitch will be 12:10. All games around Major League Baseball will begin at 3 o'clock Eastern time. Noon out here, of course. 1 hopper to short. Jerko throws out Gonzalez. 2 out. Why is that? So this way, players and managers will be playing for the given game, not off the scoreboard. And so everybody starts at the same time on the final day of the season. And so that will obviously impact, most specifically, the Angels, the Astros, the Rangers. And for teams like Philadelphia and Cincinnati, get to go home earlier.
I think it's a great plan. Sometimes the weather doesn't cooperate.
There's nothing you can do about that. But this started, I think, 2 years ago. And it's a wonderful idea because, again, if any manager can find a way to game the game, they'll do it.
Manipulate it, yeah.
Ruggiano has popped to third and been struck out and gets hit in the back.
Number 66, Yasiel Puig.
Right in the ribs, just kind of wear it. I don't know which one would be better, to get hit on the elbow or the ribs.
That one looked like it might have got a little bit piece of the tricep and ribs combined there, so you almost have 2 places to kind of take the. Either way, nothing feels good to be hit by a pitch.
Puig fouls it back. It's 0-1. Yasiel Puig has singled and bounced to second in his first game back. His fair to say that he has not run with the reckless abandon that he had in the past, certainly not tonight. Ruggiano with the lead, and there he goes. He'll make it easily. After Puig swings and misses, it's 0-2.
I'll tell you, as a right-handed hitter, I can often see, especially a guy with a good jump over that first base at my peripheral vision. And when you see a jump like Ruggiano, you have to take it. I know you may have a strike on you, but there are times where I still have to let him steal that base because I'd rather hit, even if I'm behind 0-2 with him at second, when he has it that easy.
Yasmani Grandal is on deck. The Dodgers dearly would love to get an insurance run for Greinke. Still nobody warming up in the bullpen, with Yasmani Grandal waiting to hit next. Puig has spent 74 games on the disabled list this year, 2 different stints. Takes inside 1-2. Paging Dr. Orioles, paging Dr. Nomar. Your assessment of Puig and his legs tonight?
They're saying he made, he's 100%. When I see him run, he doesn't look 100% to me. He's not running it really hard. He looks like he's running with an injury.
Gets underneath it. And Solarte, that'll do it. No runs, no hits. Hit batter, 1 left. We'll go to the 8th. Dodgers 2 and the Padres 1. Turner, a first-inning home run, his 16th. Austin Hedges, a home run off Greinke. That was his 3rd. That came in the 5th. And Greinke, as usual, been telling the story. He has struck out 7 in 7 innings. He's at 199 strikeouts on the year. And he will be facing a pinch hitter, Derek Norris. So Norris, Corey Spangenberg, and Melvin Upton Jr. Dodgers have double barrel action in the bullpen. Hatcher and Avalon. And Greinke, 95 pitches, 68 for strikes, 7 strikeouts, no walks, and Norris fouls it back. It's 0-1, and there they are.
Don Mattingly talked about both those guys in his pre-game media scrum about getting ready for 8th inning guys. Avilon, late lefty, And Hatcher seems to be the late righty before Kenley Jansen.
Both power arms. Hatcher throws a little bit harder. Avalon considerably harder than, say, J.P. Howell. We're in the 8th. If Greinke and the Dodgers can hang on, they will host the first game of the National League Division Series with the Mets on Friday. Time to be determined. Norris has been the catcher most of the year for the Padres. Did he go around? And with that, the 200th strikeout of the season for Zack Greinke. The 5th time he's reached 200 strikeouts in his career, and that is the first out of the 8th inning.
How appropriate on a fastball and great fastball command. Zack Greinke has not only been consistent all year, he's been consistent through multiple times in the order. First time, second time, third time. A normal pitcher, you flip-flop first and second time, but it's usually your low times through the order. Third time is when it really escalates. Not for Zack Greinke.
Spangenberg tries to bunt and misses.
Zack Greinke, the third time through the order, is just as low as he is the first time through the order. And the second time through the order is the absolute lowest for him.
And at the moment, his earned run average is 166. So you're looking at the ERA champion of 2015, Zack Greinke.
A lot of times the third time through the order, the batting average against really escalates. You see Zack 205 once he locks in 171, and it barely goes up to 181. Usually third time around it skyrockets for most pitchers, and the fourth time around it actually plummets for most pitchers, because if anybody sees the fourth time around, you're probably dealing that day.
Well, this guy has the hitters figured out by the third time around instead of the other way around.
The impressive thing about that chart was none of those numbers were high. Even though they were going down, they weren't high to begin with.
A lot of weapons, which keeps the hitters off balance no matter how many times he sees them, and he can morph into a different pitcher every at bat.
On 1 and 2, high and outside. Watching him work, Orel, you watch it, he's like weaving a tapestry, one pitch at a time, and he knows what the next pitch is going to be after this one. A fly ball to left field. There's Ruggiano. Whereas Kershaw will come out and bludgeon you to death with a fastball, a slider, the curveball. The nuances in the pitching of Greinke sets him apart.
It's a completely different styles and the same kind of dominance.
Yeah.
And you know what? Zach just struck out his 200th batter, and to show the dominance of Clayton, tomorrow if he strikes out 6 guys, it'll be 300 for him for the season.
Right.
That's a little different in dominance.
Now Upton, who's been struck out 3 times tonight, fouls it off to the right, and it's 0-1.
And as a hitter, it's a different approach. Where Zack Greinke, oftentimes it feels like a chess match, as you know, what's he going to throw me, how he's adjusting over the middle of that at bat, and how he's going to adjust my next at bat. Where Kershaw, you're trying to figure, okay, how am I going to hit this dominant pitches that he's throwing? How am I going to adjust to that great big curveball that he's had, or that slider that, as a righty, that back foot slider? What do I have to do? So if I know it's in that slider count or that curveball count, that I have to make an adjustment and still pray I can hit it.
1-1 to Upton, who's been struck out 3 times tonight by Greinke. Beginning to flirt with the outer limits of his pitch count. Upton with a chopper to third. And Turner will throw across the diamond, and yet another 1-2-3 inning for Zack Greinke, who's getting a standing ovation from this Dodger Stadium crowd. 8 brilliant innings tonight. Dodgers 2-1. Choose Nissan today for great offers on our most exciting lineup ever. Shop at ChooseNissan.com. You're looking at Sean Kelly. Bobby Erlin goes 7 innings, 2 runs, and 5 base hits. Kelly's 53rd appearance. ERA of 2.5. He has struck out 62 in 50 1/3 innings. He'll be pitching in the bottom half of the 8th inning. Grandal, Rollins, and a pinch hitter for Greinke, with Kenley Jansen warming in the Dodger bullpen. Grandal looking to get off the schneid. Boy, is he in a rough patch. He is 3 for his last 49. Remember, he went to the All-Star game. Bounced into a double play and bounced to third. This is the first time he's batting from the left side. He takes a strike, 0-1.
Watching Yasmani Grandal, it's his left shoulder that was injured or may still be injured. And when it's your left shoulder, back shoulder from the left side, you just can't extend the bat the same. You don't keep the bat through the zone. It doesn't get in the zone and stay long through the zone. So if you're late, if you're right on, or if you're ahead, that you still have a chance to hit it. You almost end up like protecting that back shoulder so it goes in the zone and out, and you end up like kind of pulling off of the ball more often than not. And even if if you're playing with it early and then it heals, sometimes those bad habits still stay with you throughout the rest of the season. You really have to battle with yourself to try to fight through that. And that's also difficult for Yasmani, where, okay, you might ask him the questions like, no, it feels better, it may not be hurting. Yeah, but the bad habits I got into still are hurting me.
A few years back when Matt Kemp ran into the wall in Colorado and damaged that left shoulder, it was the beginning of a real long dry spell for him. Just couldn't follow through on his swing. Grandal pops it up. Brett Wallace.
And it's, for Grandal, it's equally frustrating. I mean, like you talked about, Charlie, he went to the All-Star game. You know you're having such a great year, so you know what the success feels like, and you're trying to recapture that, and you're battling through it, and right there, even on that pop-up, he's frustrated. It's not so. It's a frustration where it's not just a pop-up once again, but it's also a ball that you know you've been able to handle earlier in the year, and you're popping it up.
Rollins takes a strike.
Tip your hat to Zach Greinke, but tip your hat to Yasmani Grandal that he hasn't taken his offensive problems behind the plate. Still did an outstanding job catching tonight, putting down the fingers.
Rollins lines it right into the glove of Solarte, quickly 2 out.
Also, there was a situation when Zach had first and second and 1 out, and there was an outstanding block by Grandal that kept the runners at bay, and they didn't move up to second and third. Part of saving this victory here today.
Now Chase Utley's going to pinch hit as Kenley Jansen continues to warm in the bullpen. The Padres 3, 4, and 5 hitters will be coming up in the 9th. Solarte, Jerko, and Wallace. Kenley in search of his 36th save. Utley takes a strike, and it's 0-1.
Chase Utley has had an outstanding career and still wants to play a while. Been a great addition to this Dodger club. Active second baseman, second in home runs. 236 compared to Robinson Cano's 238.
No balls, 2 strikes, and 2 out. Bottom of the 8th, Dodgers 2-1. Big crowd at Dodger Stadium tonight. 52,352. Dodgers lead the major leagues in home attendance by a good sum. The 1-2, Utley is done, and that'll end the inning. So we will go to the ninth. The Dodgers are 3 outs away from home field advantage in the first round of the playoffs. They could be hosting the Mets on Friday right here. Season is with MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball. Enjoy live look-ins, highlights, replay reviews, scores, StatCast, live radio broadcasts, and more. Get MLB.com at bat right now. Kenley Jansen last worked on Thursday in San Francisco, recording his 35th save. Pitched a perfect ninth in the Dodgers' 3-2 win against the Giants. His 54th appearance, 79 strikeouts, only 8 walks in 51 1/3 innings. Yangervis Solarte will lead it off. Solarte 1 for 3. Jerko and Wallace to bat in the top half of the ninth inning. Solarte takes a strike, 92, no balls, and 1 strike.
There's a lot of championship pieces on this ball club of the Dodgers. But the most innings in the playoffs are going to be pitched by Zach Greinke, Clayton Kershaw, possibly Brett Anderson, and Kenley Jansen as far as the significant innings.
It's like you're hoping Kenley Jansen's coming in because that usually means they have a lead, right?
It's going to mean they have a lead, and the other two we saw warming up tonight, Hatcher and Avilan, look like they're going to be key pieces.
No balls and 2 strikes to Solarte beginning the ninth. And he's done on 3 pitches.
You win personal awards because you have a really good year, but you also win them because your teammates help you. Clayton Kershaw winning the MVP last year, Cy Young's, people got to pick up the ball for him. They got to get him runs. Kenley Jansen's one of those guys that has helped Clayton win his Cy Young's, his MVP, and might right here help Zach Greinke win his 2nd Cy Young.
Jerko 0 for 2 and a walk, fouls it back. It's 0-1. Has a pretty safe assumption that Kenley Jansen will not be pitching in a non-save situation beginning next Friday.
Unless Don Mattingly, who was schooled by Joe Torre, does with him what like Mariano Rivera.
Well, a line drive base hit with 1 out in the ninth. Jerko is aboard.
Omar, you've seen Mariano in a tie game and sometimes for 2 innings all of a sudden in the playoffs when
Yeah, but at the same time, you see it in the playoffs, but he also has Mariano set up prior to that to going in. So it's one of those where it's just not out of the blue, and it's like playoff here, Mariano do it. So that's the key, too. And we haven't seen Kenley do that. So that's also tough if you're asking Kenley, all right, now in the biggest moments, we need 2 from you.
Mariano did it enough. Now back, 0-1. Brett Wallace is 0 for 3.
You remember Mariano going 2 innings in a regular season game? I don't remember that unless it was like game 162 for some reason.
There'd be times when he really felt, or if he didn't feel like he had the 8th guy out there or down, like, okay, I might ask. And not necessarily the full 2 innings, but come in and say, okay, get those 4 outs, but at least gets used to coming in.
Wallace gets hit
down
by a pitch. So now all of a sudden the tying run is in scoring position. And Mattingly wants to know, did it hit him or hit the bat?
Cut fastball inside and catches his front elbow. The elbow sounds like a bat.
If it's yours.
And if it sounded like a bat, that means that hurt.
Meanwhile, here's Amarista. The Dodger lead 2-1. Jerko with not a lot of speed at second base. He's the tying run. Solarte would strike out. Jerko a clean single. Wallace hit by a pitch. And Pat Murphy is going to get himself a pinch runner. Looks like Will Myers will pinch run for Jed Jerko.
He's running for San Diego, number 4, Will Myers.
Alexi Amarista, 0 for 3, is popped to short, bounced out, and popped out. 2-1 Dodgers, 1 out in the 9th. Jansen falls behind. The Mets were swept in a doubleheader today. Amarista takes a strike.
Amarista is one of those guys that just battle out there. He's not easy to strike out. Handles the bat and just finds a way to try to put the bat on the ball.
He's a fly at the picnic.
Yep.
Padres have double barrel action in their bullpen. Craig Kimbrell and Joaquin Benoit. There they are. The Dodgers would not like to see them tonight. Myers, good speed at second base. Pinch running for Jerko. He's the tying run. The 1-1. Fly ball, left field. Retreating is Ruggiano. There's 2 out. And now Austin Hedges coming up. Hedges has singled and homered tonight. Lives down in Tustin, grew up in San Juan Capistrano. Now Rick Honeycutt wants to dot the I's and cross the T's and make sure everybody's on the same page.
This is a good game for Kenley Jansen to experience. This is good preparation for the playoffs. Zach Greinke's possible Cy Young on the line. Dodgers home field advantage on the line. 1-run lead, and first and second, 2 out.
In front of 52,352, and there'll be more than that once the postseason begins. As Bonnie Grandal came out from behind home plate, just in case anybody should be running, who's going where and who isn't. Everybody on their feet. Hedges takes low, 1 ball, no strikes.
Up jumps the velocity, 95 right there from Kenley.
Jankowski on deck. Dodgers would much rather see him tomorrow. 1-0. Into right field. Puig is there. And the Dodgers have home field advantage, and they will host the New York Mets on Friday. Zach Greinke wins his 19th, wins the ERA title. Kenley Jansen saves his 36th, and the Dodgers have beaten the Padres 2-1. Well, Zach Greinke is your Lexus player of the game. Goes 8 innings, 1 run, 4 hits, strikes out 8, walks 1, finishes the season with 200 strikeouts, and that's the 5th time in his career he has struck out 200 batters in a season. So that is a wrap for us from Dodger Stadium. For Nomar Garciaparra, Oral Hershiser, Charlie Steiner saying good night and goodbye, and we'll send it back to Access Sportsnet Dodgers, brought to you by Nissan. We'll talk to you again tomorrow morning.